Some folks are not gonna like me saying this. I'm sure there are some people rushing down to the comments before they even watch any of the video to tell me
there's no wrong way to drink tequila. The right way to drink tequila is however you like it.
And they're correct. Technically, there is no wrong way to drink tequila. If you want to hold a lime wedge in between your ass cheeks while you pour salt in your eyes and shoot back Mountain Dew mixed with tequila because that's the way you like it, knock yourself out. But if this here shot glass lime, salt, and really bad tequila is your idea of how to drink tequila, you're doing it wrong. Our good friend tequila has so much more to offer if you let it. Unfortunately, lots of folks' interactions with tequila are limited to shittily made, is shittily a word? We're gonna make shittily a word. Shittily made margaritas made with that nasty, don't even know what's in it, margarita mix stuff. Or those frozen things that like they dispense out of a slushy machine, made with like the cheapest tequila possible, maybe costs $4 a bottle, comes in a plastic bottle. Just a side note, with alcohol in general, if it comes in a plastic bottle, just don't. Or the faithful night out with bottle of Jose, some salt on the hand, shoot back a thing of tequila, lime chaser, and we all know how that shit plays out.
Ya los haters tanto frente a la presión que le metemos, la chipeta que le cuelga. Ella quiere sexo mucho, prende mucho.
I can literally still smell and taste nights that ended that way. It's like permanently etched. It scarred me for life. So it's honestly not surprising why so many people treat tequila like the redheaded stepchild to be pushed off in the corner and forgotten. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Holy shit, that was a Dirty Dancing reference. I'm gonna give it a pass though, because Patrick Swayze was in that and he was also in Roadhouse. One of the coolest movies ever made. The thing with tequila is I feel like a lot of people just need a little shift in their thinking. They need to think of tequila more like a lot of people think of a good bourbon or a nice scotch. Good tequila, and to be clear, this bottle's sitting here, but this is not good tequila. This is shit. But good tequila should be sipped and enjoyed, not knocked back as quick as possible because it tastes like damn turpentine. A little something that will help you feel your best after a night of sipping on tequila is the sponsor of today's video, Zbiotics. If we're being real with ourselves, as much as I enjoy the occasional libation, it doesn't always make the next morning, let's say, feel optimal. Especially with the older I get, I feel like every year it takes fewer and fewer drinks for me to feel off my game the next day. The folks at Zbiotics aim to help us with that particular issue. Zbiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first bioengineered probiotic. PhD scientists invented it to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's that byproduct, not dehydration, that makes you feel miserable the next day. Zbiotics produces an enzyme to help break this byproduct down. Just make Zbiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and feel your best the next day. I'll admit I was skeptical at first about this stuff, but I tried it out myself after a night of a few good bourbons and also gave it to a bunch of my friends. And we all agreed we were amazed at how good we felt the next day. I was sold at that point. Just click the link below or scan the QR code that will be in one of these corners and get 15% off your first order at checkout. Zbiotics is also backed by a 100% money back guarantee, so if there's any reason you're not satisfied, they will refund 100% of your money, no questions asked. A pretty no-risk situation, really. So check out the links below, 15% off your first purchase. Thanks to the guys at Zbiotics for sponsoring this and supporting the channel. Now let's talk about some tequila. first rule of enjoying tequila is you don't talk about enjoying tequila. Just kidding. Fight Club reference. Second movie reference of the video. Anyway, the first rule is get good tequila. This stuff right here. And I know this is one that is very popular. You guys see it a lot. It's in a lot of bars, a lot of things. This shit is only good for stripping paint, cleaning car parts, nights of bad decisions and regret, probably waking up with something that makes it burn when you pee and requires a cream and or an antibiotic to clear up, followed by a full flush of your entire digestive tract in a very violent manner.
Hell no, to the no, 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 yeah, to the no.
It's not a good look. Throw this shit out. Don't buy any more. Also, stuff like this. This stuff, this smells like suntan lotion and regret. Get this the hell out of here. No more of that stuff. Those and a lot of the other popular, I'm gonna call them lower price or lower tier, super commercially available tequilas have all kinds of additives. Some examples of the additives you might see: glycerin, gross, sugar-based syrups, caramel coloring, flavorings, all this kind of stuff. They say stuff like this one. It says made with blue agave. Notice it doesn't say 100%. The good stuff is 100% agave with no additives. The especial or special, however you say it, is like 50 or 51% agave, 49% cane sugar, something like that. Get the good stuff. It's gonna taste way better, and you'll be able to appreciate the flavors that get just squashed with all this added bullshit. You just want the spirit itself with no added fuckery. That shit to tequila is kind of like Fireball to whiskey. It's got a bunch of crap. With a good tequila, you get all the subtleties of different ways they process and cook the agave, the fermenting and distilling techniques, aging, things that are unique to a distillery. Not to sound overly pretentious, because let's be honest, it's super easy to go there and sound like a complete douche knuckle when you're talking about this stuff. Real whiskey, tequila, rum, cognac, any of these things take true craftsmanship and often years and years of experience, generations of family knowledge and recipes, and that shit makes a difference. Any company can throw a bunch of chemicals in a bottle as a shortcut to maximize profits in an attempt to emulate these flavors, but it never quite hits the same. You end up with a weird taste that is both, it's like strangely bitter and almost metallic, yet overly sweet at the same time, often with a harsh alcohol bite and no real interesting flavor or character. Unless the taste of the Tin Man sweaty taint is the flavor you're looking for.
It feels wonderful.
And if that's the case, then feel free. Also, I'm no doctor, and this is by no means medical advice, and unfortunately you have to say that kind of shit online these days, but maybe that is why this stuff makes you feel so gross. All those additives, also drinking like 10 shots probably doesn't help. So drink in moderation. No need for tequila coming out to represent a bender. What you're looking for is tequila made with 100% agave with no additives, which is tricky because some of the brands out there these days, they say 100% agave, but they still have additives. So do your research before you go shopping. I'll also give you a few examples of some good ones here in a bit. The flavors and colors in a good tequila should be there because of the agave, the cooking, the fermenting, distillation, and the barrel aging. How tequila is made for dummies, kind of the short and sweet version. Tequila starts with the Blue Weber agave plant, which takes something like 7 years to mature. The plant's then cut up and cooked to convert the starches into sugar. Then they crush it to extract all the juice. That juice is then fermented with yeast and water and then distilled at least 2 times to get the lovely end product we call tequila. But not all tequila stops there. This actually takes us to the different types of tequila. First, you have your Blanco or silver tequila. Tequila with no aging, usually bottled right out of the tap. This one has the most pure agave flavor, kind of a citrus, vegetal, sometimes peppery thing going on. Nice, crisp, fresh taste. It's usually also crystal clear. Kind of an all-purpose tequila, sipping it neat on the rocks, cocktails. For you whiskey guys, think of this as the white dog of tequila. A couple of suggestions. Now this one might piss a few people off. If you're a tequila person, you'll know. This one can be a little hard to find these days, but some say it's one of the best brands out there. Fortaleza Blanco. Well, just Fortaleza. This is a Blanco. These used to be way easier to find and for like 45 bucks. Now I hear people are paying much higher prices and they're much harder to find. It's made on a family estate that has been doing it for like 125 years. They are, of course, additive free. Nice, herbal citrus kind of thing with a little bit of pepper. Just a banger of a tequila if you can find it. Another one that might be a nicer suggestion, because these are super easy to find, or should be super easy to find, the Tequila Ocho Single Estate Plata. You're gonna hear me botch a lot of the Spanish in this, but you can see it. I think it's Plata. It's another Blanco. Ocho also gets high marks for most tequila lovers. Again, single estate, meaning harvested from a single estate or ranch, 0 additives, very affordable at like around 40 bucks a bottle. Nice, crisp, fresh agave citrus, some fruity sweetness, and maybe just a touch of like a mintiness on this one that I get sometimes. Really nice, enjoyable tequila. And look, it's a cool bottle too. It's a pretty bottle. The next type of tequila we're going to talk about is the Reposado, Spanish for rested. This one is aged in barrels, often old whiskey barrels, for somewhere around 2 months to a year. This gives it that light straw color that you see. Depending on the wood they use to age it, you can find some flavors of things like caramel and vanilla added to the agave party with Reposados. Touches of flavors that whiskey folks are used to. It's popular in cocktails because it adds a little more nuance to a drink, but also can be great neat or on ice. Think of Reposado as kind of a midway point between a Blanco and then the next one we're going to talk about, which is an Anejo. Oh, son of a bitch. Editor Jeremy here. As I'm editing this video, I realized I'm gonna say it was a stroke. Why? And I double checked throughout the entire video. I pronounced the next type of tequila we're gonna talk about in Añejo. It's not pronounced Añejo, it's pronounced Anejo. I know it's pronounced Anejo. For some reason, I forgot that in the video. But I know people are going to call me out on it. So I just wanted to jump in here and say, I know I'm a dumbass and my mouth doesn't work most of the time. You could do. I have a hard time with English, nevertheless other languages. Just for correction, and unfortunately you're going to see it multiple times in the video, it is not pronounced Añejo. It's pronounced Anejo. Just to save you some typing in the comments below. It's Anejo. And just get ready to be irritated by the amount of times I say Añejo in the video. Good examples, the one we got here in front of us, El Tesoro Repo or Reposado. This is a single barrel I picked up, but this one or their normal Repo are both really nice. Usually around 70 bucks for their normal Reposado. With the single barrels, you're gonna pay a little bit more. Shouldn't be hard to find though. I see this all over the place. I think they age their Repos like 8 to 12 months. This one, it actually says on the label, has been aged 9 months in ex-bourbon barrels. Again, 0 additives. Still a really nice agave forward flavor, but with a little bit of that oaky vanilla goodness from the barrel. Another good Reposado is Cazcanes Reposado number 7. I'm just realizing that I'm not giving you guys a lot of very budget repos because both of these are more on the little higher end. There are plenty of more affordable ones out there if you're looking for something a little cheaper. These are just the ones that I happen to enjoy and have on hand for the video. This one will run you a little north of 100, maybe 120-ish. Couldn't find the exact aging time, but from their site, it looks like they do on their repos like a few months to a year, but they are aged in American oak. No additives. Also just, I mean, that bottle is sexy as fuck. Let's be real. That is a cool looking bottle with this little stuff around there. I don't know, really great. Really great mix of those traditional agave flavors with some of the stuff from the barrel. You get that nice crisp citrus, sweet, maybe even some coconut on this guy. And then the oaky vanilla, cinnamon, and even maybe a little caramel. It's really nice. I enjoy this stuff. It is a little expensive though. Some people say it's the best they've ever had. Some people say it's overpriced. I don't know. I really enjoy it. Next up, we have Añejo, or maybe Anejo, you dipshit. Añejo tequila. It's Anejo. Why do I have to say Añejo so many times? Spanish for old, is aged in barrels for 1 to 3 years. So if you notice, 0 age in barrels, some age in barrels, even older in barrels. So we're going longer and longer basically in the barrels are the difference in the tequilas. Even darker and more amber in color on these guys. This is where you really, if you're a whiskey guy, things start to get interesting. Much more oak, vanilla, caramel spice, fruits, all those flavors you're used to in a whiskey from all that time it's been in a barrel. Much more opportunity to play around with flavors, complexity by changing the type of barrel, type of wood, how long it sits in there, things like that. I would recommend Añejos. It's Anejo, you dumbass. Neat, but you can certainly make a damn good cocktail with them you want. There's also extra Añejos. which stands for extra old, aged a minimum of 3 years, but some are aged like way longer. Some of them honestly get kind of hard to distinguish between a whiskey, an aged rum, or a cognac, because it's spent so much time in the barrel, it just picks up a lot of those characteristics. Example I have of an Anejo. Oh, for the love of Christ, that I would recommend is the one I got right in front of me right here. This is Alma del Jaguar, or Alma del Jaguar. How have I heard? The J's or H's, my mouth doesn't make the noises, so I'm apologizing to everybody who's Spanish or Spanish speaking in this video. Alma del Jaguar? Anyway, cool story on this one. They donate a percentage of the proceeds to Jaguar conservation, hence the name Alma del Jaguar. So that's Spanish for soul of the jaguar. Also a cool fermentation process where they use open air fermenting with agave fibers added back in during the fermentation process, and a mix of wild yeast and champagne yeast. They age them in a combination of double barreled American oak, and French oak. Pretty cool stuff going on in this bottle. Of course, additive free, usually about $70 or $80 a bottle. Still has some of that agave, but way more rich, dark complex with like oaky, vanilla, caramel side, taking a bit more of a front seat. If you're a bourbon guy trying to dabble into the tequila world, I maybe suggest starting off with like an Anejo or something like that. Thank the Lord, finally. At least I said it right once. Oh God. Just because there's definitely some common ground between Añejos and the extra Añejos and like bourbons and stuff. So these might be the tequilas to win you over to the dark side. You also have a couple other less popular, I hate to say less popular because that sounds like I mean they're bad. They're not bad, but they're just not as well known or common. Okay, there's one called Cristalino or something that, and I think Joven. It's spelled Jovan, but again, I think it's pronounced Joven. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about some suggestions for how to drink your tequila instead of hammering it back like you're trying to be an honorary member of the Betty Ford Clinic. I mean, really, relax. Who hurt you? If you're gonna do a cocktail, don't immediately grab the first cheapest tequila you can find. That shit's good for stripping paint and nothing else. I wouldn't necessarily use like a super premium, hard to find, rare kind of situation in a cocktail, but with stuff like the Ocho, you know, $40 a bottle, why not use something like that? There are also other quality tequilas that are even a little cheaper than the Ocho that are good tequila, no additive brands out there. Just stay away from the rot gut. Better tequila is just gonna make a better cocktail. Next, absolutely no form of any drink that has margarita mix in it. It ruins everything. Margarita should be some combo of tequila, lime juice, triple sec. My man Anders actually makes his with orange curacao instead of the triple sec, which is also really good. A little bit of salt on the rim, shake it up, stir it, blend it. Lots of nice variations with silver, reposado, año tequilas, even mezcal if you want some smoke. No need for a ton of fuckery or weird shit. Keep it simple and enjoy the tequila flavor. Don't drown it out with a bunch of mixers and garbage. A Paloma is another straightforward tequila cocktail with minimal fuckery. Grapefruit juice, tequila, lime juice, a touch of agave syrup. Bubbly water. Done and delicious. Still lets the tequila shine through. Really nice, low fuckery rate. If you're good with a little more tequila forward refreshing drink, a ranch water will never do you wrong on a hot day. Super simple. Ice, tequila, sparkling water like Topo Chico, and some lime. Can't get much easier than that. You can still really appreciate the tequila, really comes through, and it's delicious, very refreshing, fantastic drink. If you've never had a ranch water, try one out. So there's absolutely nothing wrong. I'm not gonna say you don't drink cocktails. Pick cocktails that don't have a bunch of fuckery and stuff that really helps the tequila shine through. The tequila part should be the star of the show, in my opinion. But like I mentioned earlier, you should really try just sipping tequila, neat, or maybe a little bit on the rocks if neat's just too much for you. If you get a good tequila and not bullshit like that stuff back there, they're delicious, smooth, and can be sipped on and enjoyed every bit as much, if not more so, than a nice bourbon or a scotch. If I'm not mistaken, the specific tequila tasting glasses have a stem, but I mean, you don't need to go crazy and go buy special tasting glasses just for tequila. If you got some Glens or whatever laying around, these work really, really good. It gives it a good nose. It's the reason why it's good for tasting whiskey. It's also great for sipping on some tequila. Or if you don't have some of these, slap a pour in a rocks glass neat, or with just a little bit of ice and just sip and enjoy. Just enjoy the flavors. If you really hunker in for that salt and lime thing, because let's be honest, the salt and lime stuff does really go well a lot of times with tequila. You don't need to just crush the flavor of the tequila by eating a half an ounce of salt off your hand and then eating an entire lime wedge to just immediately behind to kill the flavor because that stuff tastes like gasoline. Try just a little bit of rimming the glass a little bit with a lime. Put some salt on there. Maybe just squeeze just a little squirt of lime juice, just a little squirt on the rocks. It's delicious. It helps accent it a little bit, doesn't drown it out. Something I saw on my man Anders' channel, which by the way, I've talked about Anders earlier. If you've never watched Anders Ericsson's channel, great cocktail channel, really good guy, cool content, definitely check him out. But something he did that I thought was really smart is he takes the lime wedge and then kind of doesn't rim it, but he kind of runs it on one side of the glass and then rolls the salt in it. So that way, with each sip, you don't necessarily get a bunch of salt. You can pick, if you want that sip with no salt, you can drink from the non-salted side. I thought that was a pretty cool little technique I saw him do on his channel. Some people that claim this is the way they do it in Mexico, I don't know, I've never been to Mexico. The way they do it is they will just take a lime wedge, dip the lime wedge in some salt, and they'll just keep a couple of those in a little dish or a saucer while they're drinking their tequila neat, and they'll sip on their tequila, and then every 3 or 4 sips, just get a little bit of that salt and lime off that, put it back, 3 or 4 sips, not shoot the whole thing back, whole lime wedge every time. Just a little bit to accentuate in between every few sips. Things that enhance the tequila and complement the flavors instead of just washing them out and covering them up. There's really no wrong or right way. These are just some suggestions to try, maybe be able to appreciate the work, tradition, and difference of the individual distilleries. But hey, if you want a pound tequila mixed with pre-workout and cough syrup, like you're at a frat party and you're trying to quiet the voices in your head because your dad didn't hug you enough, hey man, who am I to judge? But I don't recommend it. Just for the record, I absolutely do not recommend it. I'm a cigar guy and I drink a lot of whiskey with my cigars, and I'm slowly learning that tequila and cigars are actually just as good as whiskey and cigars. If you always just looked at tequila as like party time shots and shitty margaritas, the whole point of this video is just to try to open up your eyes a little bit, give you maybe a little bit of entertainment, maybe some education on the different types of tequila and what they have to offer. If you did like this, feel free to smash that like button. That always helps us out. If you're not a subscriber, please consider doing so. We'd love to have you on board. Hope everybody's having a great week, and we will see you in the next video. Oh, I didn't think about it, but this may be the last video that you guys see with the beard. The video's coming pretty soon. The beard's coming off. Not off. I'm not like clean shaven. Let's just calm down. But I am going to cut a bunch of it off. If I don't like it, I can always grow it back out. But I need a break. I need a change. It's been this way for a very long time. Keep it out on the channel.